We have become shallow, so that people, instead of spending time preparing their information, they spend more time in the saloon. It is terrible when the boy's first orgasm is with a fellow boy in masturbation. You can't enjoy sex in a condom. It's like eating meat in a cavera. Yeah, eat the thing properly, man, and you test the organic test of sex.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Board Podcast. My name is Francis, and today, as you can tell, we are honored to be in the presence of greatness. That's how I love to time it because I'm so excited. This is an interview I've been chasing for the longest time. As you can tell, we are with a man of God, Omusajja Ateria Antama, a man of his word, a man of his own values. For many of you, the born again Christians, you know him. His name is Pastor Martin Ssempa. Tadema America.
I like the way you say that.
Martin.
Yeah,
Pastor Martin Ssempa.
yeah,
And we've traveled all the way from Kampala to his humble abode.
yeah.
What I can tell you guys is that this place is heaven on earth.
Wow.
You should find time to come and see this place. It's an amazing, amazing place. And Pastor, we're honored for allowing us to come here.
Yes.
And for those that do not know you, please just introduce yourself.
I am. My new name is Gabriel Baba Gwanga Mujeri Yesu. That's my new name, effective this year. And although for formal documentation, I'm still Martin Ssempa. I'm in transition. I am born here in Uganda. I'm about 55 years old. People like to know you, where you're from. You know, I'm from Masaka. That's where I was born, to an Indian father and a Muganda mother. My father was expelled by Idi Amin in 72 along with his family. I never got to know my father, but I grew up with my mother. So I've grown up amongst the Baganda and I identify myself as a Muganda, although I'm of Indian and Baganda descent. I'm married to one wife, Tracy, who's from Manhattan, New York. We have 5 children, 3 boys and 2 girls, who I got to show you earlier. I've been working as a pastor, an informal chaplain at Makerere University, because I have a passion for young people, especially those who are, moving out to become leaders of our country. So I've given my time keeping them from HIV/AIDS disease, transmitted diseases, where I've developed a certain amount of expertise in HIV/AIDS after about 30 years working in it. I'm also a counselor, theologian. I'm also an entrepreneur. I have to figure out. I'm a break dancer. Yeah. So I'm a rookie farmer. I'm now 55, and I'm looking that look.
Looking 40.
I'm looking forward. Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to legacy. I think God has given me a good opportunity to set my legacy, to share my ideas across the world. So yeah, that's me.
So, guys, Pastor, today we are here
Yeah.
to just have a small conversation with you about a few things that are happening in the country, to also maybe encourage young people, because earlier on when you're having a conversation with you, said you're living for the young people.
I do have a passion for young people.
And we just want to touch a few things that, affect young people. So maybe we could encourage them and give them direction.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Why I decide to participate in your conversation? It may help other people.
Yeah.
Because it has to do with a total shift of paradigm. We are in a very WhatsApp generation where information is shared and forgotten very quickly. We're in a time where people want things quickly. Give it to me quickly,
Yeah.
A couple of minutes and it's gone. It's a tweet, 140 characters. And we think that that's effective. We think that that's a great way of sharing information. The answer is we're wrong. We're absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
And there's some things that we must do to go back. And I've been reading a book recently by uh, Professor Neil Postman. Professor Neil Postman was a professor of communication, New York University, Columbia. He wrote a book called Amusing Ourselves to Death. It was a book I read last year. Greatly recommended. And he was reviewing the impact of television on American society, European society. And his observation was the shift from the shift of conveying information from the written to television, and for people depending so much exclusively to get information from television as a major means of transmitting. Because, we've gone through oral, where people just used to talk and share information. Africa, we know that. But even Europeans are very strong oral.
Yeah.
Number two, then we went to the written,
Yes.
where things were written down, from cuneiform, papyrus, papers, books. And by and large, for hundreds of years, information was shared through the written. If you had an idea, you would write it down. And you would take time to think through that. And he was sharing how the shift from the written to the television, that's the picture, was a good way forward, but in a big way, a major way backwards. Because he was saying that each medium changes the rules of success.
Okay.
And when you changed from writing, because writing, you had to master the language.
Yes.
You had to convey your ideas in a well thought out order. My introduction, my major question of the day, my arguments, my counter arguments, my conclusions. People would actually decimate ideas. I'm not disseminate. Share ideas. Yeah, through written. You would write down and say, why is federal important?
Yeah.
Why is, like for the American, when they were thinking about the American Republic, they have what's called the Federal Papers. Okay, Benjamin Franklin, what they call the American fathers, would write papers. These were called the Federalist Papers, counter arguments. And people would sit and exhaustively think through these ideas.
Yeah, like they used to take time to absorb.
Absolutely.
The content was much deeper.
Absolutely.
As compared to what
to
it is
today.
today.
Today I have just an idea. So he shares in this book and he says, you know what? We have become shallow because television is about, to succeed on television is good looks, pretty faces, so that people, instead of spending time preparing their information, they spend more time in the salon. They spend more time in makeup, spend more time looking good. So how to succeed? You are in the media.
Yeah.
Success is now no longer, even in the music industry. Think about it. Music is no longer about the ideas. I love Bob Marley.
Yeah.
It's now about the sexy look. Okay,
Yeah.
and if you don't have the sex, you get the girls around you. You're almost like a pimp. To be a good musician, you have to be a pimp. Chikuba, man. Then you have these sexy girls around you. You have a big car, fast boat. That's success.
Yeah.
Then someone one hit wonder. Chidagera.
Yeah.
One hit wonder. But in terms of the content of that music, the content of that idea, it's shallow.
Yeah.
So we've increasingly become shallow. So as I thought about Neil Postman, he really challenged me. He challenged my thinking, and he took me back to the times when, because he was saying that, when we used to want to share ideas, there used to be someone would write their paper or their book. They would do a lecture. The lecture would be several hours.
About what they have written.
Yes.
So they're vetting.
Then there would be someone counter discussing that paper who would be given enough time okunoonya ebituli in their arguments, or you are saying we should have federal in Uganda.
Why?
Why? Tell us.
Yeah, justify.
Then someone takes their time. Introduction. What is federal? Where is federal being shown? What has it worked? Where has it succeeded? Where are its weaknesses? Why is it advantageous for this situation? Okay, whatever idea. Then someone else would come and do a counter argument. I recall in the 80s, I went to Makerere. I went to, my mother was a teacher, so I was in many schools, primary, secondary schools. I settled down in my high school of Namilyango Senior 6. That's where I took 2 years. Then I went to Makerere. But in Makerere, those are I joined 1988, 89 to 1992. Makerere was in its sunrise, was in its beautiful time, because many of the current leaders were in their idealistic stage.
So what's the picture right now?
Oh my goodness! I don't even want to start. I will not be a good person. I'll not. Don't take me there for now. Let me just stay here for now. That we used to have discussions where Professor Mamdani, Mazrui would come and present a paper, then someone else would come and debate it. Okay, gosh, I'm forgetting the names. They used to publish a magazine, MISA, Makerere Institute of Social Research. You man. What are you talking about? A guy, I remember there was a time a guy brought, was it Dan Mudola? Those guys, these Afuna Adula, and guys who are serious thinkers. These arguments that you've brought, they have even wasted this paper. This is useless. Now, Nsibambi. They would discuss privatization, they would discuss multi-party politics, they would discuss all those things.
Go deep.
But today, what are we doing?
So
we just have pretty boys looking like, putting on makeup and everything, even in summons.
Wait.
When I look at the summons those guys would write 1600, I was looking at a group of leading thinkers. They were called the Puritans, the British Puritans.
But I would love to say that all is lost.
No, you must compare yourself. No, Chimanya man. Truly, we have fallen so much.
Yeah, too good.
For instance, if we don't compare ourselves, like now, I looked at one of the summons, just one summon. Of one of these British Puritan. And I compared it with my summon. Let me just say my summon. I discovered that I was a nursery school student.
For how many years?
Yeah. Kati, bagai bali. And I think also there was the advantage that there was no distraction. This is something Neil Postman talks about. You see, create an atmosphere where when people go to work, they are not constantly distracted by WhatsApp.
Okay.
They don't go back immediately and switch on television.
Okay.
On the driving home, they are not watching this or this and this and that. But they would sit down and say, okay, I want to read. Then they used to have, they used to have lectures. There was a fellow called Josiah somebody. The rise of YMCA, YWCA, the rise of these, Rotaract? The roots of Rotaract Club, where they invite a speaker to come and give the paper. Now, it may be that people now are just there for networking, but the roots is that you come and you listen to someone who has an expertise with a pedigree on a certain subject, presents a paper. That paper is discussed. People go away and their mind is enlarged. Okay, conquest of Africa. The search for the importance of searching for River Nile. Why we should abolish slavery. Argument is they don't even know what we're talking about. So you have the Mbonyes of today, prophets. I can be able to. You failed your paper? I can fly into the main building and I change the computers and you change and I put your papers. Nonsense. Nonsense. So I grieve. Actually, I had a chance. I was having a debate with Timothy Kariegira.
Yeah.
I appreciate him so much. He's a bit very melancholic. But there's something about Timothy that we all must appreciate. The necessity to keep high standards. The necessity to think well. The necessity and the importance of doing great things. Okay? With excellence. As a
Yes.
good thinker,
Yes.
as a good writer, as a good musician. We have lost that.
So, Pastor, what I'm taking from what you've just shared with me is that, like, the essence of maturity, the essence of reasoning, is being watered away by the emergence of technology.
Yeah, that's true.
And this is trickling down to the young people as well.
Very true, very true. And it's creating, let me tell you, sometimes the reality of our history, you have to superimpose certain things to understand because some are beneath. Today, one of the reasons why we are not developing as a country is because many of the people in positions of authority do not know what they are doing. And number two, they are not willing to expend energy to learn
New
how to
things.
do it. Number three, they are not willing to do the hard work because hard work requires exertion. It requires denying other things. Right now, you have taken time to travel from New Vision to come here. That's exertion. I have taken time to leave everything else
To come here.
to come here to give my time to you. That's exertion. I've abandoned everything. I have many people want me to be visiting man everything. But hard work. We have, and I remember working in Ministry of Ethics and Integrity on the Anti-Pornography Committee. This is where I had a falling out with Father Simon Lokodo.
Yes.
I was on the committee. We were supposed to assess the problem of pornography and actually deal with it. And because I know the problem of pornography, I'm an expert on the subject, I knew what we were supposed to do. But what I discovered was that we were spending more time putting up workshops where we actually were not interested in doing the workshop. It was about collecting what? Per diem, giving business to the hotel owner, giving business to the entire merchandise around there to merchandise the process. And after being involved in it, I was tired of it.
You left.
I said, no. Well, I complained. I did a performance assessment. I wrote letters. And instead of paying attention to what we're doing, because you know if Pastor Ssempa is there, things are going to be done. You give me a mandate to fight pornography, I'm going to fight it. I'm going to assess it. I signed up, by the way, to all the pornography accounts. I signed up. So I know what's going on. I signed up
So
all
you
the
are consuming
videos.
the content.
I did. I have to monitor. You can't fight something you don't know.
Pastor.
You cannot.
Yeah, that's true. But then, how does signing up make you, like, create the solution to creating the solution to the problem? Well, that is knowing the problem.
Well, first
but then
of all,
how do you create the
listen,
solutions?
you cannot stop something you don't know, and
Yes.
do not be excused. By the way, pornography is defined as consuming material for purposes of sexual stimulation. I was not. And exposing nudity, there's sometimes you can show nudity not for purposes of sexual stimulation. For example, teaching people about female genital mutilation. Chris Bariomunsi, when we put the law against homosexuality in Parliament, that same day he gave a presentation about the dangers of female genital mutilation. And in the process, he showed women's private parts. Now, you would think that this should not be shown in Parliament, but the purpose of showing women's private parts was showing the impact of the damage that is inflicted on women when they are circumcised. And so when people saw that, said, no, we don't want that.
Okay.
So even fighting pornography, you got to know. If you're fighting drugs, you got to know. Now, there is a difference between consuming drugs and knowing the type of drugs and how they are moving. So I knew it. I worked effectively. But we were, my committee, my minister, Lokodo, they were not willing. You talked about Lokodo machines, Manya what. It was just cham.
Did you procure the machine eventually?
No. And that's why I complained. I wrote to the Inspector General of Government. I said, this is a joke. This here is a joke. Okay? There is everything, corruption, tribalism, what? There's no value for money. And when I did that, you know what they did? They threw me out. They accused me, Pastor Ssempa is not working. Then people said, he's not working hard enough. I said, what? So people say, Pastor, we're not watching enough porn. I say, some of your colleagues, Pastor. No, I wanted to work hard.
Actually, that's why I was asking.
I did.
Were you not watching enough porn to come up with
Exactly.
solutions?
No, I had the solutions. I wrote concept papers, concept notes. What? It was just about eating. So I say that, look, I'm old enough now. I'm at the point where I can say my father was Indian without being embarrassed. And my mother was Uganda. People were like, don't say he was Indian. I don't care. I'm 55. I don't care now. I will tell you the truth.
So, Pastor,
even in terms of why Lokodo, I fell out with him because he wasn't doing the job.
he was eating money.
I told him, Lokodo, I said, look, you got to deal with it. So I took the IGG. Let me finish this issue. He fired me wrongly without following process. I had because I wrote to the Inspector General of Government to investigate. He's like, how can you do this? This is wrong. I'm firing you. Then I complained again to the IGG. You can't fire a public service person in this way. You got to give them due process. So then they said, let's investigate. What was your issue? I said, tribalism, abuse of funds, lack of effect. So they investigate. Then they found that I was right. But by the time they gave me the report, it was like 1 year later. Then they said, but we cannot complain against Father Lokodo because he is the head, the line minister over what? Inspector General of Government. We have a conflict of interest. You go to court. When I went to court, they told me, you've come late. I said, well, I was resolving it from the IGG. I thought because they said, no, you've come late. Sorry. And I'd even taken a loan, a salary loan, on off of that salary for a 5-year contract. So I was stuck with a salary loan from Centenary Bank, Bamanja Sentezang. But you look, I share this because I know someone out there will get a job, will get disappointed, and will give up. I don't. I'm like, okay, if that's the way it's going, look, okay, I'll do my best. But you never hear me talk badly about Uganda. Yeah. I talk about the fact that we need to train these cadres who have been given these positions to be able to work hard. Work hard, build your wealth slowly, build your money slowly, but be known as a rigorous worker in whatever area you are in. Rigorous worker, hard work. I resent victimology. The other book that has been very helpful to me was Bok. He was a former constitutional court professor from Yale. Yeah. And Reagan suggested him to be a Supreme Court and Supreme Court justice nominee. And they played such a bad number on him because he was a right-thinking, solid Christian man. But Bok writes, they really did a bad job on him, okay? You saw what they just did to Justice Kavanaugh recently. Claiming, all allegations. Yeah, that's how those liberal, anti-conservative values do it. They bring some chick who claims, he wanted to rape me, nonsense.
Have you faced the same?
Oh, yeah. But anyway, Justice Bok wrote a book called Slouching Towards Gomorrah. Slouching Towards Gomorrah. It's a series of 12 essays. I want everybody watching and reading it to read that book. It's excellent. Many of people think you know the Western world. You don't. You have no idea. But there's a several chapter about the black race issue. Then he talks about the problem with women issues. Women rights issues and human rights issues. One thing he writes in there is the victimology. Victimhood is an antithesis for hard work. If you make money like black people, when the African American, they used to work hard, but from 1960s, they began this welfare system where you can claim, I am a poor person, I don't have this. The welfare system has created female-led families in black America because they give equality that if a woman has children, each child gets an allowance from the government. So you got female-led families with 5, 6 children, no father. If the father stays in the home, they don't give you that welfare system. So you got this where the man comes and goes away. It's almost pimping. So then, and it's making money out of victimhood. Oh, we are poor. Oh, we are from the the poor background. And if you look at the outcomes of Black Americans with all this gender empowerment, gender complaint, every outcome of no is going down. Production, family life down, drugs up, delinquency up, yes. Academic performance down. Young men, black boys going to work. No, they just want to do. They just want to be a sports star, or a celebrity, or a pimp, or a drug dealer. That's so. Black American society has broken down because they introduced a system of victimology. And Justice Book writes that great book that I greatly recommend everybody to read. You will understand America. People think you understand Western. No, you don't. It really has helped me very much on that. And it's encouraged me about hard work. I love hard work now. I love hard work. You found me chopping a tree over there. Yeah. Oh man! Now you see, you have to have a total shift of paradigm.
Yeah.
That a man must work, get tired. Then after getting tired, then you can drink your beer. You can drink your wine. You can drink your juice. You can drink your enjoy the good time. Hang out with the boys if you are from what do they drink there?
Where do you think it's important for people to hear the information you've shared, especially for young people?
I personally think that we have the best country in the world. Mark my words. Uganda is the most gifted country in the world. I know Congo has got most minerals.
Yes.
But Uganda is the most gifted country. In Uganda, you can be able to succeed. Able to what? Succeed. But because we have been given the wrong information, because we have been given the wrong models, everybody is desperate trying to leave Uganda. Meanwhile, foreigners are coming to Uganda. Bachikuba.
Yeah, they see opportunities.
You tell Indians to leave Uganda, they're like, what are you talking about?
So what are these models?
You tell Europeans to leave, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Because they have a mindset. For example, think of the Indians. Indians have a multi-generational view to making money.
It has to run in the family.
Father,
yes.
grandfather, what Nebachikuba, look at Madivani, look at even Mulwana. We must know that money is not made in one day.
Yes.
Money is made over a period of years. You stand on the shoulders of your father and mother and you go to the next level. Kati now we are in the process of selling our land. Yet that land today, if you look at the forest, people have begun to plant forests here. If you want, people need to know, if you want medium-term money, plant trees. Plant eucalyptus. Within 7 years, okay? That 1 acre or 10 acres, whatever, you can be able to get money out of it. But we are not told. We are told, omwana ganti etakali kadulitune ngole boda mfuneyo mutwalo. Kati boda tesobola kujjamu sente because it's going to be arrested and osirane.
Yes. So
we need to teach our young people because we must enjoy this country. Man tulino chikuba wano. Tulino chikuba mu ggwanga lyaffe. Opportunities. Like I'm talking these days a lot about, to me, one of the greatest ways of young people making money, to me, is a combination of tourism and agriculture. Those two things, you merge them. Tourism and agriculture. I mean, if you are right where you are, look at those hills. These are the hills.
Yeah.
All it takes now, with many Europeans who don't have the sunshine, this beautiful sunshine, this great weather. In Europe, it's winter. Mwana bali bubi. Bafa. America, winter. They want to go to a place where they can hang out. where there's a sunshine. Tewali mukama yatuwa sunshine. Teri agiina ngeno. Weather. We're on the equator with that Lake Victoria behind there. River Nile, the forest. The weather is so smooth.
Serene, yeah.
Number 3. We have beauty. Those people are looking. Now people are no longer looking for these top hotels. Someone came here and told me, Pastor, Bazungu are not looking for top hotel. They want a house which is made out of mud. So they can, they're called bio-living houses. Underline that word. Write it down, my son. Bio-living houses. Bagala enyumba ezizimbiddwa ebintu ebiramu. Emiti. They no longer want concrete. They want a taka, emuli, bamboo. That's where they want to be.
Oh, so that's why you're saying tourism and agriculture.
Agriculture. So if you get, for example, if you don't even have to own the land. Just be like MTN. MTN doesn't have to buy the land where they put the towers.
Yeah.
Look for a site with beauty. A site with what?
Beauty.
Beauty. Because people are now looking, this young generation is looking for a wilderness, the end of the world experience where nobody goes. At the end of it all.
Yes.
With Airbnbs, people are looking. If you Google and you look at Airbnbs making it in America, people are renting places, putting up a small cottage. Small. I'm not talking about Serena. Most people are thinking Serena. Put up a cottage, even if it's, or a tent. Tent. Put up amenity, bathroom, what, and security. Advertise it on Airbnb.
That's tourism.
Tourism. They're looking for places to go, things to do. People are actually, I know a doctor who left, he did a hospital over there. He's come, Dr. Franklin, he's put a community hospital. He started medicine, but he doesn't make his money out of medicine. He makes his money out of tourism.
Okay.
Aine motoka, he organizes medical trips. Americans, Europeans, they come here. He used to be in Watoto. They come here to do medical camps. After they do medical camps, they go to the zoo. They go to the game park. They enjoy the good life. You know, he says, I'm making more money out of my tourism gig than out of what? Medicine.
So what about agriculture? How do you explain agriculture?
No, because agriculture is, you are selling only to Nakasero. You don't want to sell to Nakasero. No, Nakasero is poor. Me, I grew, when I first came here, I remember growing, I grew in that valley where you see the swamp, because it was hot here. I grew broccoli. And I was excited because, I'd listened to Kabushenga. You can make money out of agriculture. I planted oranges. I planted bananas. I planted mangoes. I even planted broccoli, vegetables. Then when the vegetables grew, I said, now we have to take them to the market. I got my young man, Ben Okumo. He was one of the students from Makerere, he's from Kenya. He was my manager. We took to Nakasero. Do you know the system in Nakasero?
No.
Insulting you, abusing your product, abusing you, ignoring it until you say, okay, I'll get transport. At least let me get you what? Transport. Man, what a mess. What an absolute mess that was. You grow things, but there's no market.
So where's the solution here?
You create your own market. When you have guests that are coming to your place, the milk that you milk, you are the one who provide it to those people. They even enjoy milking the goat. When you grow your vegetables, you sell it to your guests. Now for me here, I'm trying now, because I'm on a bigger land than others. Now I'm trying to bring guests here so that my fellow villagers, they bring their sugar canes, they bring other things. But I've seen that money comes from, because the economy of certain group, like in Uganda, we have 90% poverty. 90% of the people are poor.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Am I exaggerating? Poor! Peasants, less than 10,000 a day. So then there is a 10% out of the 10 mulimu like 5% abachikuba kitegeera they take their children to international schools bavuga emmotoka ezakabi bo bali beba MPs kitegeera kat now locally you have to tap money from this 10% so that you can put it into the 90 what
percent.
If you are a pastor like me at a university where you have the 9 out of 10 students 9 are poor. What? Despite now I'm dealing with we are now doing exams. But yawa batanaba kusasula school fees. Ntagana nabo. Aba bano abazadde banonya school fees. So we have to find a way to work together. By the way, that's part of my observation of the model. Why I think that operation, this endless operation, wealth creation, operation what, including this one of, which is the new one, parish model, previously Emioga. They are not going to succeed. And I'll tell you why they won't succeed. It's very easy. Okay, the current parish model is looking for poor people. They want to put 10 poor people together and give them money to do a project. So when you have 10 poor people, right? They are, let's say they have grown something agriculture. They have to take it, potatoes. They want to take it to Nakasero. Just the transport alone, or maybe even the phone call, to have a phone, because they don't have WhatsApp. Kati, to transport those potatoes from here to Nakasero, the transport money is a lot. Chitegeera. Amagoba gagenda, they are going back, they will have to kupangisa a pickup. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Pickup to go to there
is 100,000.
100,000. The profits they were going to make out of the potatoes was what? 100,000. Now for me, on the village, who lives on the village, I can be able to put those potatoes in my vehicle when I'm going to Makerere. Because I go to Makerere every day. And I don't have to add any extra money. Now, I could provide that service to those 10 poor people by putting their potatoes in the what? In my car, and I drop them where?
So the solution is to empower people.
You need to put the abagaga n'abavu together. Tosobola kulaakulanya abavu bokka. Oyina okufuna ayina emmotoka omugate n'atalina ki motoka. That is the together community development model. As long as you ignore the bagaga from participating in the bavu, you will not succeed. We need to. This is how Korea made it. This is how China's made it. In China, for example, the cottage industries, they grow bamboo. Poor people, they get the bamboo, they make toothpicks. This family makes toothpicks. The other family also does toothpicks. Echiro, after their work. Then there is the mugaga, who collects them at the end of the week. Nabitwala muchi in the big city. Since we don't have cooperatives and they were closed down, the only way to bring some of those, because the cooperatives, they would save the money, they would buy the Achi truck. But now poor people to buy a truck, million yana. The driver, omusasula sente maker, you can't. So to me, it is that those synergies can create wealth. So I know that Amos Wekesa has been talking a lot about tourism.
Yes,
and he has made good money through what? Tourism. But I looked at his container. I went there at Movit because he's telling people, you buy a container, turn it in. Ochimanyi sente zo spending ogula container. Kati okupangisa chirolo okuleta container wano. Adena baji weldinga. Chichi container milioni 13. Ochitegeera 40 foot eri kusende meka. Si milioni 13 abiri. No. Okay, even if you buy a 41, this is I want to show you West. Okay, let's say it's 10 million, the small one. The money of you hire a crane
to lift
it because you can't get kanyamas to put it on a trailer. The trailer which is going to drive it to your village. Do you know how much money that is? By the time it's about 35 million. Now those 35 million, then turning the container into something. It's a lot. Yeah. You are high. No, kati abantu abapute tulina. Nekati do something, get bamboo, get soil, kola ekintu tekamu glass, nice see-through glass because abazungu bagala nnyo what? Glass. Then promote it as a bio living house.
Yes.
people gonna come out ateteekamu ne kano ka sunlight babagala nnyo n'okuli
sunroof.
Yeah, that's what I would say. Then bakuwa $10 kikumi. Can you imagine, Francis? You a journalist. Gwe bakuwa sende meka New Vision. Kamushenga kuwa meka. Ochitegeera. No. By the way, a lot of people now, I see money journalists these days, after they reach a certain point, they either leave Uganda, go for BBC, Dutch Welle, what, like the Vachivingas, who's, or they move now. More are now going YouTube, because YouTube, when you monetize, they give some money. Because I think the most highly followed the Ugandan is I don't know what stamina, this musician Kenzo. Kenzo I think has at least 1 million followers.
That's 2 million, 1 million.
I 1 million. Next Kenzo, how many dollars afunanga obanga nkumi billion oba 3. Kati okubango ina 1 million people following you, and all you are getting is $3,000, which is about 10 million shillings. It's consistent. It's consistent. Someone kuvugira ko Range Rover okwo. Ayina ebirala byayiyamu. No.
Pastor, moving on. So, what I'm taking away from your from what you're sharing is that things have been so diluted today, right from the curriculums that were already put in place. Is supporting abana bavubuka kulowooza to create things that make money for them, and I would have also resorted to shortcuts.
Yeah,
that's why the omwana atekawo ekintu leero enkya ayagala kikole ki kifunemu kifuuke ekinene, which has also been trickled down to the internet age, whereby abantu ebintu babikola mangu and kids are taking kids are taking shortcuts. Being that you're living for the young generation, what do you think the young generation should focus on to make sure that they profit from the digital times?
My observation is that we have some of the smartest brains in the world, and I want to start off with that. Ugandans, we are smart. Tuli bagezi. We are very disciplined. Look at the way we spend time in school, okusoma, even when there's no school fees. I do that because I compare with America and Europe. I remember being in America. Kids don't want to go to school. They don't want to go to school.
Okay.
Their school is for free, but they don't want to go to school. They just want to hang out, play. Parents beg their kids to go to what?
To school.
Here, kids want to go to school. So, number one, I think we have a great opportunity that there's hunger to learn. Number two, however, the education system has not been given a credibility that it should. The current education system that we've had was built around colonial leaders trying to come up with, officers, colonial officers.
Very good.
But it wasn't built around building skills, okay, that people produce. So, but now, all of a sudden, we've come up with a new curriculum, which is putting focus on student-led, independent thinking, which are very good things. But there is no context for that. It's like, I don't know if you notice, every school now has to have school trips.
Yeah.
You know where they go for school trips? Simanya, bachikubira wali Freedom City. Bachikubira Freedom City. Guy wa Freedom yachikwasaganya wali na abateka mu bumotoka awo. But the purpose of the school trip is to learn, to do things, to experience. The purpose of critical thinking. Okay? Critical thinking is planning, discussing, removing the teacher. Right now, senior 1, senior 2, they have had to remove the teachers because they are saying that the students must learn by themselves. Well, the culture that we have is not designed for that. The classroom that we have is not designed for that, okay? Independent thinking, where simanya all information must be put on computer. Tetulina computer. Kati abana babasibye ku smartphone during COVID. Abana balaba porn. Ochitegeera. Kati we are trying to get something that we have not actually prepared for. Technology must be harnessed. But it must be harnessed in the proper way, and I know there's a lot that I can say about it. I'll give you an example. My sons, my first 2 boys, wanted phones. And because all their friends had smartphones. I said, no. I said, why do you want the phone? Oh, I want to communicate. I said, you give me the reasons why you need the smartphone. So we first began when they were here in the primary school.
Okay. Oh, that's
Even when they went to secondary school.
They didn't have smartphones?
No! Not at all.
Hey.
No.
So are they on social media now?
No, they have gone on because they have gone into university.
Okay.
To me, it is when a person has grown. So, but I bought them katochi. I said, you want to communicate? They katochi. Katochi. So they learn texting. Now, when someone spends time fidgeting on the katochi, he learns how cumbersome it is. Then I taught them, go take typing, computer typing lesson, learn how to type. So they learn to do more on the computer than on the iPad because this creates more of a consumer. The computer creates more of a producer. So we got to teach our people how to produce, to put things on the market. To put things on the what?
The market.
But the first point that I made, we must break this model of get rich quick. We must break the model of chap that I succeed. We must break the model that hates hard work. We must break the model that if I actually do things right, I will fail. There are few scholarships for government scholarships getting to university. I must cheat. Some schools have become famous at teaching children how to what? Cheating. You are killing your child. So for me, what I would say is that we must age-appropriate release of technology. Television, like in my home, we don't watch television. We don't. TV is kept in another room. I brought it out for World Cup. I bring out TV out every 4 years.
Pastor. Okay, why every 4 years?
Nzo kunsanga ku TV nti ntudde every 4 years. Ndabachi.
Talaba amawulire.
Amawulire ngalaba. Kakati then number 2, kati okulaba amawulire. I hide the TV in another room where we make it difficult because most people, TV is the number one thing in the once you enter their bedroom, in their house. We made a decision that as we raise our children, the number one things people will see are books, magazines.
Yeah.
Because it's natural curiosity. When you want to switch, you want to learn something. If it is switching on the TV, the brain doesn't grow. It is TV. Newe chibira nti chitabo mwana kwate kuchitaba tuleko wali. And they read. They read the magazine. They read the newspaper. They read. But whenever you subject the brain to a passive mode of a computer, of a television, you are reducing the ability of that brain working. So, yes, we have a television, but we have it we have what's called entertainment. That's where we have a piano. Nebayiga piano nakubakubana neyewulira mulimu n'endongo najaminga mwawo nakubakubamu creativity kandi every day kubamu ku ndongo.
So Pastor, you spoke about music.
Yeah.
This is on a lighter note before we go to the real serious stuff why we're here. You rebranded to the new name.
Gabriel Baba Gwanga Muje.
Yeah, you rebrand to Gabriel Baba Gwanga Muje. Yes. No gamanti ogenda kuyingira music otukube ki?
Emiziki.
Otukube emiziki.
Yeah.
Where is the album?
Man, I need a producer. I need a producer. Njagala producer. Because some of the music that I do becomes dangerous.
How?
Yeah, man, bwe nchikuba man chiba chakabi. I can give you an example. Na yejja kubejja ebyama. Bikola bya buswavu nantala bikanga bucha yendiga. Omuntu ategeera otandika otya okulya ebisiyaga. Bwe otabeerako byewammwe obeerako ebiteega. Bijjidde embirumbye siri mu kusaga. Ojja kulowooza Pastor Babbo oli mukweraga. Naye mu kulya ebisiyaga si mwe muli obugagga. Bajja bagula butu zifuke bikekete and that is so bad and that is so sad. Bisiyaga tubigobe. Bisodoma tubigobe. Tewali njawulo ya misege. Wejeyo tyamba n'ogamba nti olige. Kakati oluyimba olwo.
Yes,
that
Pastor.
is a song I composed. It was mostly composed by AK Gravity.
Gravity Omutuju.
When he was still a young man.
Oh, okay.
So he came to me, he had me preach and speaking. Then he got inspired. That boy is very gifted. He was in Old Kampala.
Okay.
So he came to me. Before he became big. Then netukola oluyimba nenduwulira nendutereezaamu okwo. kati then ne tugenda mu studio tulikola studio ya go Radio and Weasel.
Good life.
Good life. We did this. We did the song. The song will by the way. No, when we recorded it, it came very well. Mulimba gaya bankubire simbantisa, they are calling me Pastor Ssempa. Do you know what we can finish your concert? Man mundeke yabakuba. Olina atandika oluyimba bikola bya busafu nantalabika nga bbuca y'endiga omuntu ategeera otandika otya okulya ebisiyaga then Pastor Naila ebisiyaga tubika. So when he went and did that song at Okwolesa Kitone, one of the early ones, he won. He won the first time he did it.
First round.
First round. He won. When he won, the producers told him, "You are very talented, but you can't sing that song." Era olusiga oluyimba nalusigaza ku kompyuta. Era buli eke gravity I meet him, he's such a good friend of mine. Say, Pastor webale chikuba, Pastor oluyimba gwe lufulumye. So that was one of my first songs. I have it. Then there's another one that from my preaching again, from this one where they got this thing, "Why are you gay?" One of the young men got, I think there was a line from my discussion where I was explaining to Simon Njala that, these people are so depressed. Their life is so full of misery. They must every day, they must drink alcohol, smoke, and go party after party. A life of party after party may sound like a good thing, but you can't party after party after party. You have to work.
Yeah,
Monday, Friday, then you what? You party. Never bomana Monday party, Tuesday party, Wednesday party, Thursday party, Friday. But now just saying that's a miserable life because you see you are trying to drown the things. So Big Trill.
Oh wait, Pastor. Echigambo party after party chava kugwe.
Yes. So then Big Trill, I think Kaiser took it. He was in studio. Then he got one of these videos, YouTube, TikTok. He had me talk
party
about
after party.
Party after party. The thing stick. Party after party.
After party.
Party after party.
After party. After party.
After party. After party. Chikuba. Ne yalinganga ya one hit wonder. Ne.
Yagamba. He said the money made from after party. Achazili akopa.
He's a good young man. Because people are saying, Pastor, this guy is taking your message. He's made money. I said, no, me.
Let him leave. For the young people.
My heart is generous. I'm happy. I'm happy he has even made a song. I'm happy he has shown his talent. I'm happy. Yeah.
Right, Pastor. So, on a serious note now, this incident right now, the Sodomy incident in Buddo, whereby a parent came out and said that a teacher has actually been sodomizing a child for almost 4 years now, and she didn't realize until she had to take the child to hospital, and then it was discovered that the kid has an STI that is mostly common in gay people. So of course now this thing leaked into the media, and a lot of people have come out to talk about it. Even the church, the school, the Buddo put out a statement about the same thing and said that the teacher actually is being pursued, and the church now is involved in to carry out investigation about the same. And you're really an outspoken person when it comes to this, to the sodomy issues. And I'm wondering, what do you think is the problem right now?
Okay, sodomy is about confusion, really. It is thinking that a man is a woman. That it is the appropriation of a fellow man for purposes of sexual relations and love and whatever, for purposes which you should be normally with a woman. And then a woman appropriating another woman for those purposes. And then the other variations, half and half, sometimes with a woman, sometimes. So all those, then sometimes boys who act like women and women who act like boys. Oh, this is all confusion. It's deviation. My training is I'm a sociologist. My first degree is in sociology. And there's a role called socialization. Socialization is preparing young people to adopt the roles that they should have, responsibility, as they take them on. So it is preparing you, like a young girl, you're going to grow and become a big woman.
Yeah.
And there are roles that you need to be prepared for, okay? So the process of socializing, preparing you, is called socialization. So we do have a major failure in Western world of socialization because they do not have those systems in place. They don't, okay? Ani ayigiriza omwana okubeera omusajja. You know, like, look at Bagisu. Like, the African has rites of passage that prepares young people to know. Yeah, seeta omwana afaane baba we. Yeah, you got to know the path that you're going to go through. So there is the preparation, there is the training that goes with that. So the Europeans now have turned around and they have turned what we know as a vice into a human right. You know, they have turned a vice, a human vice. Because for us as Africans, we know these as bad manners. These are abominations. Biblically, in the Muslims, Christians, culture. But for them, they have now not only accepted them, now they have legalized them. Now they are making it that if you don't accept them, then you're a criminal.
Yes.
So they're putting lots of money, and they've made my life extremely difficult.
How has it affected you?
I've become bankrupted financially. My professional relationships have been cancelled. The degrees that I got, they have asked that the degrees that I got, worked for, and been assigned be cancelled. My professional relations have been jeopardized. I used to speak in the biggest churches in America, whether Willow Creek in Chicago, Illinois, Rick Warren's church, Saddleback Church, second largest in California. I used to speak in those big churches. I don't, because they vilified me so much. They see you as a threat. I mean, when you say that homosexuality is abnormal, they see you as an existential threat. The same way Russia sees taking Crimea and America putting bombs in Ukraine, it sees it as an existential threat to its life and is willing to throw everything at it. Now, for the Europeans, they see sodomy as something so fundamental that anyone who comments negatively about it must not be given visas, must not be given funding, must be denied public platform, they must be driven off of Facebook and others. So it created a cultural divide, like the West, East versus West, Africa versus America. Yeah, so we are at a point where there's a real ideological contestation. But unfortunately, instead of bringing it out, and like I told earlier with Dr. Neil Postman, tell us what are the advantages of sodomy.
Yes.
Tell us how is the human body suited for sodomy. How is the rectum performing after its usage? Can you be a good football player after, we've seen these things of Chris Mubiru and others, There was a video there. I mean, they do not engage, but what they do is that they engage in what is called lexicology. Lexicology is changing the meaning of words to mean new things.
Okay.
For example, if yellow meant a yellow color, that like a yellow banana, yellow orange, then somebody says, okay, yellow now means blue.
Yeah.
So then they show you yellow here and they show you blue.
Which is now yellow.
Which is now, they say the word is now remaining yellow, but the picture is what? Blue. So what the European has gone and done, and because he controls the language, he controls the English dictionary. Like just last month, they changed the meaning, the lexicology meaning of the word woman. It has been an adult female for hundreds of years. Now they have changed the definition of woman to sometimes adult female, but sometimes people who feel like they are women, they may have a different gender, but they may take on the gender of being one. Do you know that actually women and men who define women as an adult female are being driven out of professorship, out of public spheres in Europe and America. And all the gains of women's movement are being rolled back because you can just stand up one day and say, I feel like a woman, and I'm now what?
A man.
A woman.
I'm now a woman.
A woman.
Inside.
So, I think yesterday, Scotland had come up with a bill, Gender Recognition Act, which says that if anyone, I think either 14 or 16, says, I'm no longer a boy, I'm now a girl, that government should immediately affirm them. And thankfully, England did something. The Scottish Parliament is under the jurisdiction of the British Parliament, British government. The British government refused it, cancelled the Gender Recognition Act. So coming back here to Uganda,
Buddo,
first there was a letter of a mother who said that her son had been sodomized, and he had been sodomized by the teacher and also other students.
The same son?
Yeah, that there were other students in the school, which include some of the student leaders. So please listen carefully. So a student has said that a teacher and some student leaders have been doing bad manners on him. And so when and she's been trying to get justice, she felt. That's why she sent the WhatsApp out. So then we called the teacher. I had my friend call that teacher to listen. Hey, teacher, what's up? As soon as it broke. Because I wanted to talk to the mother. I also want to talk to the teacher. Actually, right now, after this interview, I'm going to go visit the mother. And talk to the young man.
You're in touch with them?
I'm in touch. I've been looking for them. I just got that response yesterday. So I'm going to go talk to her. I want to hear her side of the story. But what I heard from the teacher was he said that I'm not the one, but there was a dorm captain of that house. I think the house is called Nkrumah, who was actually a homosexual, and that he was in senior 6. And the students complained about him, including this one. And he was the one who was, when they said, are you gay? He says, I'm a gay. I'm a homosexual. And they dismissed him.
The student, yes.
The student. Now, the teacher says, me, I'm not, but it was the house captain.
That was who was dismissed.
And the house captain also apparently confessed that he was a what? A homo. Eventually, they dismissed that boy, and he had to sit exams coming from outside. So, a non-disputed fact. There's a dispute. The teacher says, I am not the one who abused the young what? Man who was talked about by the mother. The mother is making things up about me.
Yes.
The teacher says there was a dorm what?
Captain. Yes.
Who apparently, according to the school, that he admitted that he was the one who was what? For him, he said, I am this. So now, but the school dismissed him immediately. Buddo what?
Dismissed him.
So now people are now discussing extras. In that midst, so I summarized and I said, number 1, there is a problem of sodomy in Buddo. Number 2, while there are disputes, the one who was confirmed to have been a sodomite with no dispute was the dorm what? Captain. Not the teacher or the student. Number 3, the person that we need to investigate has been dismissed already. Although they confessed. Then they released so for me, I said, now we need to, these ones we can talk to them, but they are not real. But the main issue is the one who has what? Confessed.
Confessed, yes.
By the time someone is in senior 6, by the time someone is a dorm captain, they have a lot of power over the students. And how comes a person who is so confident to say that he's a homo is the dorm captain at senior 6? What has he been doing since senior 1?
Wow.
How did he become? So for me, it is not so much the one that you are dealing with now. No.
It's the root.
It is the post. You need a systemic analysis of this issue.
From down.
Don't jump on this one. Then they put Smanya, the letter you are saying was from they say it's a fake. Now, by the way.
Actually, it was confusing.
Now, you need to understand, whenever you deal with sodomy and its incurrence, you are dealing with high-level manipulation. My goodness. High-level manipulation. Because the rule often is the victim is made to be the perpetrator, and the perpetrator is made to be the what?
Victim.
Victim. The people who help the victim are made to be the co-conspirators who are the bad people. And the people who are actually the guilty ones, they are made to be the ones you must apologize to. Man, ekintu ino nkibaddemu. Waliwo pastor omu yalina ebizibu byebimu ate mu kifo ky'okwesootinga ne babinteekamu. I suffered so much. I know.
Yeah, you even went to jail.
I did community service. But I know how this thing works, my friend. The homosexual mafia. Do you know the number of lawyers in Kampala who are on a payroll of the LGBT? Do you know abaloya abasinga okuvuga emmotoka empya abavubuka abato the gig they are doing in Kampala? Homosexuality. Do you know that homosexuals promise people, I can take you to Bulai, because now they have access to the Europeans, and once they can create a victim story, oh, I've suffered, oh, they threw me out of my house, oh, they beat me, oh, they did that. When you get that story, you take it to the embassy, they give you a visa.
Yeah,
there's a guy, my driver, he just finished last month. He has a friend who was talking on the phone there near Radio Simba. Talking on the what?
Phone.
And of course, you know, they are phone thieves. The phone thieves came and beat him badly. And they took away the what?
The phone.
The boy had been selling fruits in offices. He was selling fruits. So they tried to treat him, but after a while he went back. He had to go back and serve the treats. So he went to this office where the guy looked at him and says, what happened? He said, the thieves beat me and what. Then the guy says, but you know what you could do? You could claim you can get a visa.
Hey.
You say that you were gay and that people beat you because you were what?
You're
gay. Then we put you together and we go to the embassy. You will get asylum. So they began. In fact, how I got to know it was my driver, who is his friend. That boy's phone had gone bad. So he says, let me use your phone. Use your phone to take the pictures. When he's swollen,
evidence.
So then, Nachigoba, he pursued it. Now, the thing that scared him was when he heard that when you go there, they first sample you. That when you go to Canada, I think it was either going to America or Canada, that when you are there, they have to prove that you are a real what?
You're really gay.
But he had prepared up to that point. If he was willing, he says, no, he refused. There is I've written a book actually on this subject.
Yes.
I consider myself a leading researcher on this subject. I've written a 500-page book that called Straight Nation Uprising.
Okay.
I will give you the link of the video that I've done. I'm trying to get support. In fact, if you're touched, if you're there and you really think you would, I would like some support. I'm looking for about $2,000 to be able to hire a final stage editor. Okay? A final stage editor. And also have residential, because I have to read some other books.
Yeah.
One of the universities is going to publish it, but to publish it through a university, you have to study even more books so that you send your Sodomy. Could have written the book for like 8 years, guys. I was so tired. I figured I'm tired with it. And then they said, no, you have to read more books so that you can show that you've read these ones, because that is how academia is. So I need about $2,000 to get that book out. It's called Straight Nation Uprising. Euro-American LGBT aggression and the rise of Uganda's the rise and fall of Uganda's anti-homosexuality law. So anyway, on the issue of Buddo, and so you can support me. You can support me. My number is 772-641028. That's my number. That's plus 256 area code 772-641028. You can put it in there, in the bio. So concerning this issue of Buddo, it's a systemic problem. It's not only Buddo.
Yeah,
it's across the country.
Mostly it's common in schools, single-sex schools.
Not even Buddo is not single-sex school. Buddo is mixed.
Yeah.
But Buddo has a problem. I've been researching Buddo for some time. And first of all, the relationship between girls and boys is not promoted. In Buddo, girls must cut very short hair. They are basically treated as boys in girls' clothing. That's how students of Buddo, boys, tell me the school does not promote healthy engagement between boys and girls. That has to change because girls are girls. In fact, they tell me that boys of Buddo spend more time visiting with girls of Gayaza. When they go for a school outing to the beach, the girls of Buddo are left behind and they take the girls of Gayaza for the outing. That's wrong.
Yeah.
Because it creates a mindset of exclusivism. So even though you have a gender balanced school, and it does help, like Kasasa. Remember Kasasa used to always be in the news for sodomy.
Yes.
Then they made it gender balanced. They put girls.
It's no longer.
You no longer hear about it. Because you gotta have a time of self-development, self-expression, growing between boys and girls. I remember the first time I danced with a girl in senior one. Woo! When her breasts touched my chest, I was like, who is that? Okot Pibitek who wrote that book?
Dancing with
Okot.
Pibitek.
Song of Lawino.
Song of Lawino, yeah.
Yeah, her breasts.
They're piercing your chest.
Piercing my chest. Then I danced and I put my hands on her kabam. I was getting some electricity from two sides. But it was in a context where there was a teacher.
Okay.
So there was a restraint. Yeah, there was a supervision. We need to have... by the way, for the next week, I had difficulty concentrating.
After you had the encounter with the girl?
After that, with that girl. I kept saying, why don't we do that dance tomorrow? Because it's so enjoyable. God has put a magnetic pull between boys and what?
Women.
Yeah, women and men. And we need to develop that relationship, to develop in a controlled way. It is terrible when the boy's first orgasm is with a fellow boy in masturbation. But I hear that in single-sex schools. During teasing, when senior one, the boys, they tease young boys.
Damn.
And I want to have a campaign of gender balancing all single-sex schools. I want you to hear me. We must have abolished them 20 years ago. 20 years ago. We must have abolished them. So anyway, on this issue of Buddo, I think the problem is much bigger. Many of you need to remember there was a school fire in Buddo last year. And part of the reason why there was a school fire, there was allegations that two things happened. One, it happened soon after students who had been caught in homosexuality had been expelled. Number two, during the school fire in the investigation, they found love letters of homosexual nature. Boy to boy, girl to girl. I had journalists who came to me to interview me. They showed me the letters. They're from NBS television. They interviewed me, and I gave a good data. I even told them, I brought the boys who had been in Buddo, who are now at Makerere, to give expert information. Do you know what happened to the story?
No.
It never ran. It never ran. This is what happens. They kill the stories. Money! Money! Gosh. So, to me, I will point at you on this issue, is that we need a systemic... This issue is as big. You need like a Uganda AIDS Commission to deal with this issue. Okay. But you don't deal with it very publicly because you are now under the watchful eye of every special every European government, every American government, their secret service, their state departments. They are looking at you because their number one effort is to legalize it here.
Yeah.
And it goes through stages.
Yeah.
Stage number 1, remove any law, decriminalize. Stage number 2, make it non-discrimination. That is, bring them in. Stage number 3, equality. Tell them homos and non-homos are equal. Heterosexuals and homos are equal. You marry, I marry. Stage number 4, affirmative action. Create the special rights for them. I was talking to a police officer. He told me that he's an OC. He says there was a homosexual who defiled a child. They brought him to the police station. He says, me, the OC, I hadn't even known the case. It had just been entered into the book. But I received a phone call from Washington, D.C. State Department, calling me, telling me about the case, which I, who is the police OC, don't even know about. What does that mean? There is such a highly connected, well-developed information network which is set up to defend, which is set up to fight for homosexuals or anyone who says I'm a what? I'm a homosexual. Yeah, but I think facts need to come out. One of the very important facts is, I talked about the school fire. Was I think that story is in the papers, but wasn't very conclusive. But what I would point everybody to right now, one of the most important report is the research that was carried out by the Kenyan government concerning Kenya school fires. Okay, this had been happening for almost like 12, 13 years. Every time you'd hear Kenya school fire, people would say, why? Eventually, Kenya put up a commission of inquiry to research this issue. And in 2018, that commission of inquiry came up with the results of that. What is happening in Uganda is what has happened in Kenya. You see school fires. You wonder, why is the school burning? You cannot understand what is going on.
Yeah.
But there is now a huge issue of sodomy and devil worship in schools. And that is what they saw in Kenya. Now, recently, when it happened in some of our schools, people ignore. You are just where you see. Some don't even know that even homosexuality exists. I heard of a certain woman in Cavalry. She says, I don't think it exists. But then she said, but this is why God has withheld rain. Because the gods can't stand that.
They're not happy.
So for me, we do have a huge problem.
What are some of the solutions that you think?
Number one, you need to establish facts. Number two, you need to have, everybody must talk about it the same way we talk about it, about HIV. Okay? We need a ministry, and we don't need to spend so much time talking about the bad without talking about the good. We need to spend about 10% talking about the bad, but 90% talking about how to experience good sex.